All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are taking a close look at the financial side of a system called ONPASSIVE. We're going to explore the pretty incredible financial promises it makes, and then we'll peel back the layers to see the core assumptions that everything is riding on. So here's the big question right out of the gate. Could you really make over $300,000 a month from an online system? It's a huge claim, but some of the promotional stuff out there suggests that numbers like this are actually achievable. So the question is how? How's that supposed to work? Let's dig into the mechanics. Okay, first things first. Let's talk about the promise. What are the core financial benefits that are pitched to potential members, the people they call founders or affiliates? This is all about the what. What are they telling people they can actually get out of this? At the heart of this whole thing is a concept called residual income. Now, the idea itself is really powerful. It means you don't just get paid one time when someone joins your network. Instead, you keep earning, month after month, for as long as the people in your network stay subscribed and active. It's that recurring element that's key. But the promise actually goes a step further than just commissions from your own network. There's this idea that early members, the so-called founders, get to be sharers in the company's overall profits. So you're not just earning from your team, you're potentially getting a piece of the whole pie through special bonuses. So that's the promise. But how does the engine actually run? Let's pop the hood and look at the real mechanics here. Specifically, the structure they use to build these networks and, in theory, generate all that income. It all revolves around something called a 3x10 forced matrix. So what on earth does that mean? Well, it's pretty simple. You can only have 3 people directly underneath you on your first level. Once that's full, any new people have to go downwards, filling out the levels below. But here's the really interesting part, a feature they call spillover. This means new members recruited by people above you can literally spill down and land in empty spots in your network. And if that happens, you could potentially earn from people you never even recruited yourself. And that leads to a point that's really emphasized, timing. The whole idea is that if you join early, you get a better spot in this massive structure. A higher position means, in theory, a much better chance of catching that spillover from the people above you. The message is pretty clear. Getting in early could be a huge deal. Okay, so we've got the structure, but what does that mean for your bank account? What kind of money are we actually talking about here? Well, this is where the numbers get pretty wild. Let's look at some of the projections that have been passed around. So check this out. Here's a projection for Kenya. Under what they call favorable assumptions, the potential max income for a founder is projected at over $323,000. And let me be clear, that's not a year. That's per month. That is a life-changing amount of money, no matter how you slice it. And this isn't just a one-off. Here's another scenario, this time for Morocco. Even here, under a high adoption model, the projection still tops $86,000 a month. So you can see why this gets people's attention. These are consistently massive, headline-grabbing figures. But, and you knew there was about coming, right? These numbers aren't set in stone, not even close. You have to understand that they are completely dependent on how many people actually join. Take that Kenya example again. If you only get 10% of the projected market to sign up, that income drops from over $300,000 down to about $32,000. Now that's still a lot of money for sure, but it's a completely different reality. Seeing numbers like that, big or small, makes you ask the obvious question, right? What has to happen for any of this to become real? What's the fine print? What is the entire system fundamentally counting on to make these projections work? So, let's flip the coin. Let's look at the other side of the equation. Because for every single one of those amazing promises, there is a core underlying assumption that absolutely has to come true for any of it to happen. Let's break those down. And this slide right here perfectly captures that tension. Every big claim is sitting on top of a big assumption. You want to earn from a massive network? Well, that assumes a constant flow of new recruits. And, just as important, that those people keep paying their fees every month. You're excited about getting free access to AI tools? That's banking on those tools not only being delivered, but being good enough that people actually want to use them. And what about that spillover? Well, that only works if the network above you is growing like crazy. Otherwise, there's nobody to spill down to. So beyond those internal assumptions, there are also some external risks, things that have been pointed out by outside reviews and analyses. To really get the full picture, we have to look at these as well. And these are some serious points to consider. We're talking about things like, are the products actually viable? Many of them haven't even fully launched yet.
There's the huge dependency on recruitment. If that ever slows down, incomes could drop off a cliff. Then you have potential regulatory issues from groups like the SEC. And, of course, there's always the risk that the company could just change the rules of the game, the compensation plan, at any time.
So here's maybe the most important takeaway of all. Those huge, eye-popping numbers you see in the marketing, they are almost always theoretical maximums. They are the absolute best case scenario if every single thing goes perfectly right. They are not what a typical or even an average member should expect to earn. And that leaves us right here. On one hand, you have these projections of potentially massive rewards. On the other, you have a pretty long list of crucial dependencies and very real risks. The ultimate question isn't just, can it work? It's about how you weigh that incredible promise against the underlying premise.